Why do some people look busy all the time, but in fact don't feel like they're making any progress? This might be you in some way, shape, or form or another. You might be thinking, yeah, I'm doing all this stuff, but I always feel like I'm lacking something, or there's something I might be missing, or there's something that is not really truly helping me in order to achieve what I set out to achieve in the first place. Like, I keep working hard, I keep putting in all these hours, but I seem to be making no progress whatsoever. And it's like running on a treadmill without stopping. And you're like, when the fuck is this gonna be over? I don't even know when this is gonna be over. Am I actually gonna achieve the goal? Finally, or what is happening? And so what I'm going to be talking about today is related to this topic, where basically what you need to understand is when you're working hard and you're feeling like you do a lot of things, you feel like your day is so busy, you've got so many things to do, and let me tell you how wrong you are about that. How wrong you are. Why are you wrong first? Let's talk about that. You're wrong because it's not about... The problem is you're probably approaching doing things in a very wage slavery kind of way. Chances are you're working a job, or you're going to school, or you're studying, or something like that. And all of these things are very, very similar. You wake up in the morning, you go somewhere for a set amount of hours, and then you get home at the end of the day, and then you do whatever you want. The problem with that is it conditions your mind and how everything has been set against you in today's society when it comes to the education or even the workplace. The problem is it is set in a certain way for you to clock in and clock out, to put in a set amount of hours without necessarily getting a set amount of outcomes done. And this is a massive problem because it trains your mind as to think, okay, putting in more hours equals more money, which that not necessarily is 100% true. You see, the problem is when you start thinking like that, and this is how I used to think as well back in the day, and I had to completely restructure how I thought about work and how to get things done on a long period of time in order to start my own business and to become an entrepreneur. So my biggest issue that I was facing at the time was I was doing a lot of different things, but I wasn't doing the right things that would improve my skills better, improve my skills faster, or get me paid more, or get me paid better. That's the problem. Not only that, but also wouldn't really help the clients I was working with. I worked with a photographer, one of my friends, for the past for a year straight, and I was helping him grow his Instagram, but that's the only thing I fucking managed to do. We tried to put together a website, we tried to create a funnel to get him monetized, to get people to buy stuff from him. Nobody really bought. I think we only got $60 in sales, which is fucking nothing. So I came to the conclusion that, okay, there's obviously something wrong with the way I'm approaching things. And this might be the same thing for you, the same realization. I'm 23 right now, and when I was 21, this is what I was thinking about. 2021, I thought, what the fuck am I doing wrong? And I started looking at everything that I could do differently. And what did I find? I found that there was a recurring pattern in my brain that was putting in more hours without necessarily achieving the outcomes I thought was going to just magically make the answers appear in front of me. That's not true. The problem is when you're always busy, you're not actually necessarily achieving the outcomes. So what you need to do is you need to take a deep, hard, long look at yourself in the mirror and really think for yourself, am I just putting in the hours because I'm putting in the hours, or am I putting in the hours because I need to achieve this thing? Am I putting in the hours to achieve a certain result? Am I putting in the hours and I don't even look at the number of hours I'm putting in? I'm just working to figure out this problem and solve it. That's the mental switch that you need to make. And that's the mental switch that I made back in the day over 3 years ago. I thought to myself, okay, I need to stop caring about the amount of time I put in, and I need to be more efficient with my time. Because if I'm not efficient with my time, then in that case, I'll never achieve the outcomes I set out to achieve. I'll never get the life I want. I'll never become the person I want to become. I'll never be able to help any clients. I'll never be able to start my own business properly, get it off the ground, and start making money. You see what I'm saying? It's very outcome driven. It's very results focused. Nobody, when you're working, like the most stupid example I could give you is, if you've ever had a sales job or a cold calling job or a telemarketer job or something like that, that basically is you need to do X amount of things. This is the deadline. This is the amount of stuff that you need to do. And if you don't do it, you don't get paid. Or you get paid the bare minimum. So your incentive is to get things done successfully. Because once you do them successfully, you get a percentage of that commission for yourself, right? And I was listening to this guy, really, and he was saying like, yeah, I used to be a telemarketer and everybody hates you, right? And he basically had to learn how to get good at sales in order to achieve the results he got out in the first place. He went out there to get that job to get more money in the first place, and he was making like 150 grand a year or something like that. And he was saying like, yeah, it's actually pretty fucking good money, but it's boring as fuck. And it takes a lot of hard work and effort to really put yourself in that mental headspace of you need to just get it done. And it's like having a checklist of stuff that you need to do for the day and then just executing on that and then succeeding at every single point on the checklist before the end of the day, before you go to bed. That's what you need to change. And so you might see somebody else struggle with this, feeling like they're always talking to you about, yeah, I feel like I'm doing too many things. I'm super busy all the time. I don't have any time to do anything I want. And you need to really look at them and tell them like, hey, are you really sure you're making 100% use, like efficiently, of your time? Because if you were, you probably wouldn't be complaining about this. You were saying like, hey, I need more time. Like, I'm doing all these things and I get to the end of the day and I've got so many more things to do. Like, I don't know where I'm going to find the time to do them. That's a completely different problem. It's a completely different problem than, oh, I'm so busy all the time. Instead of saying, I'm so busy all the time, you say, how can I find more time? I need more time. Where can I find it? You're outcome focused. And if you could switch in your own head your mind from how many hours do you need to put into what do you need to get done? What outcomes do you need to produce? What do you need to create? What do you need to build? Where in that case, you'll always achieve better and bigger than everybody else. Because the point is, you need to link your identity to achieving outcomes. This is very important. Because if you don't do this, basically what you're going to do is you're going to be like me, like 3-4 years ago, which was playing video games all day. I kind of feel like shit right now. I'm just going to go play video games. Instead of looking at the overarching outcome. I want this goal. How do I get there? And then how much time is that going to take? How much sacrifice is that going to take? How do I get there faster and better than everybody else? And then you're just competing with you're competing with yourself at that point, right? And at the end of the day, and even if I don't like people who say this sentence at the end of the day, it really truly is only you versus yourself. So you need to think for yourself, okay, I feel like I've been super busy lately, but have I truly been honest and productive with my time? Have I truly been efficient with the use of my time? Have I been putting in the hours into the right tasks to get the outcomes I needed out of them? Or have I been bleeding out time here and there that I could have used more efficiently? Have I been scrolling on TikTok? Have I been watching videos on YouTube? Have I been listening to audiobooks? Have I been, I don't fucking know, taking a run for like 3 hours instead of going to the gym for 30 minutes and then getting back to work? You need to be careful how you use your time, because you don't have an infinite amount of it. You have a finite amount of time. And so you need to use that to your advantage, because if you don't, you're going to end up 40 years old, 50 years old, having kids, maybe not. And if you have kids and you haven't really amounted to anything, and one day they're going to sit around the table with you and they're going to be like, Dad, why didn't you make the money? Why don't we have money? Are you a millionaire, quadrillionaire? And you're just gonna have to tell them, no, I was lazy, and I didn't really make use of my time efficiently, and yeah, I thought being more like comfortable and watching TV and watching the game and playing video games with my friends was a better idea than creating financial wealth for my family, for you guys. Do you think they'll be fucking proud of you if you say that? I don't think so. So if that's the case, and you don't want to fucking have your kids resent you because you fucking didn't do anything, then in that case, you need to pull yourself together and find a way or make one. This is the perfect mentality that I always tell people. Like every single day, I go to the coffee shop sometimes and I see people that I know, and I know they go to the gym, and I tell them like, hey, have you been going to the gym? And they say, oh yeah, but I've only been going 3 times a week, and because I'm so busy, and I tell them, bro, not good. This time you're gonna go 4 times instead of 3 times. And he says, yeah, I'll try. And I say, no, you don't try, you do it. And then you go 5 days, and then you go every single day of the week. And he said, oh, okay. And just by doing that, it's going to make him feel guilty about it, about not going. And that's the point. Because if I can push this person to do better, because he thinks about a version of reality where he feels guilty and he doesn't want to feel guilty, then in that case, he'll do the right thing. He knows going to the gym is the right answer. He knows it's a good idea. And he knows he wants to do it. But the problem is, when he feels like not going, he doesn't go. That's not a good mentality to have. You're not outcome focused. You're feelings focused. That's the problem. And so sometimes you might have to take a hard, long look at yourself in the mirror and think to yourself, okay, am I actually doing the right thing right now? Or am I just doing something because I think it feels productive? This is what I was doing when I first started growing my business. What I used to do is I used to do a lot of strategizing and a lot of planning and a lot of brainstorming, but not really outcome focused. I was really just focused on the act itself of strategizing and planning, which in perspective, now that I think about it, doesn't actually get you anywhere if you don't take action after you actually strategize. So that is retarded, actually, when you actually think about it. So you need to be careful how you use your time. You shouldn't do a task for the simple fact of doing that task. You should do that task because it leads to an outcome. For example, today, what am I going to do today? Well, let's start with yesterday for starters. Yesterday, I spent all of my day, because in the weekend, because we are Tuesday, yesterday was Monday, New Zealand time. So this weekend, I spent most of my time creating content and putting everything together in a folder so that I had everything ready to post in advance, so that way for Monday and Tuesday I can focus completely on clients, completely on business. And Monday I'm going to do all the research to find out who I'm going to speak to, where I'm going to go, what path am I going to take, where am I going to go in person, where am I going to go online, who am I going to speak to. And then from there, Tuesday, I'm going to go in person and I'm going to talk to people. I'm going to say hi. I'm going to say, hey, I have business owners do this. I was looking at your online stuff and I thought you really stood out. I would like you to tell me, like, how's it going? Like, is everything, like, in terms of clients, are you doing all right? Would you like more clients? Like, what are you doing right now to get more clients? Are you interested in looking into that right now? Or are you just cruising? And then have conversations from then on. Because the point is, the goal is to close those clients, get them to pay me, and me to help them achieve another goal. And then once we achieve that goal, then we set another one, and we keep crushing goals after goals and getting more results and getting more results. And then that's how we make things move. That's how we make things go forward. You know what I'm talking about now? Outcome focus. Results based. You need to be more outcome driven in your own life. That's the problem. That's the thing. Because as soon as you're outcome driven, you can actually get done so many more things than you actually think with your time. I remember I used to work 16 hours a day, and now I don't actually work 16 hours a day anymore as much as I did before, because I noticed that I can actually make better use of my time if I actually compress that time into smaller blocks and force myself to think about how to achieve the outcome in a more pressurized way. So what ends up happening is my brain is like, we really need to get this done, How do we get it done faster? And my brain thinks, okay, let's do this. And so instead of strategizing for like 2 fucking 3, 4, 5 hours, I strategize for like 30 minutes, maybe an hour tops, and then I do like 8, 9 hours of execution. So that way I have more data to use so that I can reflect on it later, and I can keep doing more. And then I might take some breaks in between in order to go take a walk, go to the gym, go eat some food, take a shower, all that sort of stuff. Just the basic stuff that I do on a day-to-day basis, basically. I use those as time blocks so that way I can use my time more efficiently. That's what I'm talking about. So, at the end of the day, you need to think for yourself. Have I really been looking at everything that I'm doing right now in a outcome-driven way? Or have I just been doing the stuff because I've been doing the stuff to do the stuff? think for yourself on this question. It's very important that you actually become the kind of guy who can actually bring results to the table. And with that said, I appreciate every single one of you guys watching until the end of the video. And as per usual, like, comment, subscribe. Let me know in the comments if you prefer. I recorded some new types of videos recently. And let me know if you prefer the whiteboard one or the me talking to the camera like this. That way I can know for sure which ones to do more of. I'm probably just gonna make a post about it to get you guys to vote, to let me know which ones do you prefer and which ones do you not prefer, so that way I could get some better content out there for you guys. Maybe you prefer the whiteboard, maybe you don't. So let's see. Beautiful day. It's time to get back to work. And I will see you tomorrow for another daily upload. See ya.